Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is that welcome back to the channel. This is that long awaited colouring, well, whip and chat that I promised ages ago that I am finally getting around to doing. I'm going to be working from in Cottage by the Sea by Chuck Pinson. This is a Diamond Art Club diamond painting. As I said in one of my last chat videos, I just found it really difficult to chat and colour. And I am planning to do more colour alongs on the channel, so I figured, you know, a whip and chat working on a diamond painting or a random project should not be, hopefully, too much of an issue. And we will just see how that goes. Nobody seemed to really mind, so hopefully we'll be fine with that. Just sorting out so you can actually see maybe what I'm doing. There we go. Right. And I have worked out a way to minimise the crinkling issue by like moving the plastic off to the other side. Well done me. But yeah, I figured we will just make a start, do what we're doing and work on this piece. I'm going to move that over a tiny bit. Can't actually, yeah. So, well, apart from anything else, hello. As you guys know, I am spending quite a bit of my time trying to get on top of, you know, filming schedule and routines with the channel and kind of, well, almost like modernise it and I don't know, make it look that little bit more professional, I suppose, by you know, a bit of editing, some colour along magic, things like that. And I've been doing pretty well at it, we are super busy at work at the moment. It is my crazy time of the year. It's not a pleasant time at the moment. My work, I'm a very, very busy clinician, I'm afraid, with not a lot of time to take a breath. But I am finding that I am back into my hobbies at the minute, which is good. I've been really enjoying my colouring again. I'll be honest, I haven't touched a diamond painting for a while. I have specifically continued on with this for the purposes of today's chat, if I'm being super honest. I've been gaming, I've been colouring, I've been listening to audiobooks, catching up on a lot of ColourTube and hobby related stuff on YouTube, and you know, just really trying to get on top of, well, life things, my house. We did quite a big clean and sort over the Christmas period. I did a major craft room change around and sort out and declutter. So that video I have filmed and it will come up on the channel very soon for you guys. I know you all like a good craft room tour. But it did take quite a while, and I'm very slowly, because we also sorted out our little spare bedroom and things like that, very slowly kind of, you know, packaging and sorting and adding things to my eBay account. I'm a big gamer. We had a lot of games that were like just for older consoles that I don't use anymore. I had a couple of consoles, a lot of crafting stuff, just a lot of random things that are sat, and you think, you know what, it's time to get off my butt with this, get them in the dining room, get them in a massive pile, and you know, see if we can make some money back on some of them, especially because some of my older games are obviously collectibles and actually worth a little bit of money. While we're not in the digital age fully yet, I might as well sell them and make a little bit of cash. And there is a reason for all this, why we have been prompted so recently to do all these things, and also of course a reason for my not a no buy, because you know, I would go insane, but my low buy of this year. And of course that is what today's chat is predominantly about. I do want to preface this with, my dog is okay. He's okay in the end. I don't want to, you know, this channel is not here to upset and depress people. It's not the point. You know, and a lot of people are very much triggered. Can't watch sad stories about pets, just can't do it. So I do want to start out by saying that Egon is now okay, but that I am going to tell the story of what happened and what's been going on with us, and all the stuff. So of course it is currently February now, but at the very end of November it's my husband's birthday. And it fell on a Friday this year, and we had, you know, a few plans, a nice weekend planned. We were going to go see the Chester markets and, you know, just go out to eat, do a few things. And on a Friday, I finish work about 6:30. My husband obviously gets home earlier than me, and he rang me kind of, you know, early evening before I was finishing to say, you know, he sounded a little bit panicked, and he's like, what time, when will you be home, when are you finished? And I'm like, oh, I'm not that far off now, a couple more patients to see, and I'll be coming home. And he prefaces this with, his next sentence is essentially, because it's burned into my memory, Egon's not okay, there's something really wrong, he's not right. And I must have looked quite panicked at this point, because my nurse is now like staring at me, looking a bit freaked out, and I'm like, I'm really sorry, I'm gonna have to go. There's something really wrong, I need to go home. A patient had already arrived, so obviously I saw them first, because, you know, and then I left. And if I remember, I think that was my last patient. I think I was done. I don't think I had to turn anyone away or anything. So I got home, and I have 2 French bulldogs, for reference here, for people that might not watch my channel all the time. They are my babies, my pride and joy. I don't have children, so I am one of these modern age like poor mums that's probably, like, you know, a little bit overzealous about my doggos. And he couldn't get up, he couldn't move properly, his whole right hand side was just paralyzed, he was falling all over the place, obviously trying to get up to me, trying to say hello, and just couldn't. It was just so upsetting. So I rang, my husband had already rung the vets, and we went straight there. And even though the vets are open, they charge you an emergency call out fee for that appointment. So I paid £180 that day for the vet to have a look. Now she did give him some gabapentin, which is a nerve related kind of, you know, anti-inflammatory, and some paracetamol. And she said, I think this is IVDD, which, you know, I was pretty much already sure something like along those lines had gone on. And she's like, we you know, we need to refer him. What I will do is I will ring round to the couple of places we send people to, and see where I can get you in. It's not going to be nearby, I'm really sorry, but you know, that's where these places are. We're like, yep, no problem. She said you will hear from them within like half an hour, hopefully, with what's going on. So we're now like obviously Friday evening. So we went home, we gave him his tea, he ate his tea, you know, obviously I helped him eat it, and we gave him his gabapentin and his paracetamol. She'd already given him a morphine shot, and we waited, and to be honest, within like half an hour the veterinary hospital rang us. At this point I think it's about like, it's like 8 o'clock at night. And they're like, you know, can you bring him now? And obviously I'm well aware, I have Frenchies, so I've looked into the things that can happen, and I'm well aware of how important it is you know, those first 24 to 48 hours of treatment for it to be successful and to have any chance of him being okay. So we're like, yeah, we'll come now. So the veterinary hospital is about 2 hours away from where we live. I think by the time everything was sorted and, you know, details, we got there about 10:30. And obviously, you know, Egon, he doesn't travel well. He's already in a state. He's very upset. You know, he had a lot going on, bless him. And, you know, we took him and they're like, you know, explained everything and said, yeah, we definitely think it's, we are pretty sure it's RVDD, but we will need to do MRIs to establish that for sure. We think he's a grade 3 out of 5. It was behind his shoulder blades, not at his bum end, so it was all 4 legs. So he was like, you know, not just his back leg that was paralyzed. He was you know, severe, but obviously not a grade 4 or 5. So she was pretty sure he had some feelings still, like he was responding a little bit and trying to move. So she said that's like, you know, a good sign. And, you know, explained the cost of the MRI and the surgery and the care he'd need while he was in there. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot. It was a lot of money. But he's 5. He's only 5. And obviously, I mean, we can't really afford it, but we can. It's not gonna like cripple us financially. It'll just take me like, you know, a year or 2 to get straight. And I know a lot of people wouldn't, you know, do all that for their dog, but I know a lot of people that would. And, you know, of course, we're like, yeah, it is what it is. We had to sign, we had to pay half up front to be able to leave him, which of course I had to just go on a credit card. What else do you do in that situation? Unfortunately for us, just a couple of months before, my husband had changed job and career. He was really unhappy where he was before. He'd been there a long time. It was, you know, a very well-paid job with a car and a phone, but you know, sometimes you can't swap the fact that you're probably going to have a heart attack eventually with the stress, for the fact that, you know, a pay cut to be happier might be a good idea. So he just swapped jobs a couple of months before, and because he'd had a company car previously, we just spent all our savings on obviously purchasing a car for him. Otherwise, to be honest, I would have had you know, enough to pay for what needed doing, but you know, typical, of course. It always happens when you can't. I'm gonna change colour, bear with me guys, bit of a rattle. So, you know, it is what it is. So put that on a credit card. Obviously we are, you know, the 1st of December at this point, I believe, or like the 30th of November. So you know, just before Christmas and everything. This literally was my husband's birthday. Like, the timing is like definitely ranks with the worst birthday ever, I reckon. Is absolute the top spot for him. It was just, you know, I can laugh about it now, but I'll be honest, it's taken me a while before I've even been able to speak about it. It was just so upsetting at the time. Obviously they explained, you know, what might happen, the risks of surgery, the risks of it not working, the risks of, you know, him not coming back to us, the risks of him being permanently paralysed. And obviously we opted, with all that information, to have the MRI, which an MRI in itself is £4,000, just to put this adventure into perspective. Just the MRI x-rays that he had to have done were £4,000. Now, we did have dog insurance that covered us up to a maximum of £4,000 for any one treatment or injury, so we thought that we would at least be able to get, you know, some of it back. They of course let us know on Christmas Eve that they wouldn't be paying for the condition, because a year before he'd sprained his knee, pulled his leg, and the vet had put in his notes that it could have possibly been IVD related. The first time they saw him, the insurance said that means that, you know, they'll not cover this injury because it's pre-existing, even though it's a totally different part of the body, completely new issue. They're like, it's spine related, so we're not covering it. So I'm glad I paid 12 months of pet insurance to not be helped in any way. That's absolutely typical, and I'm just waiting to be able to cancel that when it finishes this month. To be honest, I'd rather just take that money and add it towards what I already save each month towards things that need to be done, rather than just, to be honest, throw it in the river, because that's about as useful as that was. Because of course the minute we do need to renew it this time and add on his pre-existing injury, it's just that expensive that it's just criminal. So yeah, where was I? So we left him, which was also very hard because he was a long way away. He was 2 hours away, so it's not like if anything happened last minute we'd be able to go and say goodbye. And I did get quite upset. I got more upset because on the way out I thought she'd said, we'll just pop him for something and then you could say goodbye, and I didn't realise what she'd actually said is, if you say goodbye. So they took him, and I'd not even said bye properly. I got just really upset about it all. In case, you know, that was my goodbye. It sucked. So yeah, so that was obviously the Friday night. They told us, you know, hopefully they'd be performing surgery, that they would do the MRI the day after and be able to hopefully do surgery as soon after that and after what they know is going on as they possibly could. And they told us that obviously no news is good news. And then at 5 o'clock in the morning, my phone rang. Yeah, so you can imagine like the state of myself when I answered the phone. I thought they were ringing to tell me he'd passed in the night or something. Honestly. Anyway, it wasn't good news, but he was still with us, and his injury hadn't gotten any worse. Basically, he just got so upset and so worked up. His breathing had got so bad they'd had to sedate him, which obviously it's not good. He's a brachiophilic kind of breed, so you know, they have some breathing issues when they're really super worked up at the best of times. And obviously any dog being kept sedated, especially in a more critical condition, it's, you know, not good. So then, but she said, you know, they're keeping an eye on him, and, you know, just to obviously keep our phones on us, which we had been doing. And they rang us later in the day to say they'd done the MRI, and it was what they had suspected. He had a disc impaction just behind, essentially, shoulder blades, that had obviously pushed into the spinal column, and then it paralyzes the spine by compressing the nerves. And, you know, they were going to hopefully operate that day. They went through all the risks again over the phone, because every step of the way they kind of ring you and you have to agree. And obviously they have to tell you all the risks. Again, very upsetting, but again, we opted, you know, with the information being what they thought it had, to do the surgery, you know, as soon as possible. And they said they would do the surgery that later that afternoon. So this is like only Saturday from the Friday, and he had his surgery done Saturday afternoon, the day after his injury. So, you know, we responded as quick as we could. We made our decisions as fast as we could. We got him the help and treatment he needed as quickly as we physically could. Now, obviously, the fact that he'd been home on the Friday in a, while we've been at work, and obviously hurt himself at some point and been like that, will haunt us forever. I check the cameras so often now, it's unreal when I'm at work. The little doggy monitoring cameras that we have, just so often, it's definitely left me a little bit paranoid. And you know, they're keeping an eye on him, and you know, the operation, they told us, went as well as it could, and that, you know, they'd be keeping him at least a few days, you know, while he starts to recover. They were having to keep him sedated still, which was not ideal. The vet did tell us, the surgeon, that he needs, so when he was little, we paid to obviously have his nose done, because he is a French bulldog, and it helps to, you know, open the airways, and it helps with their breathing and their comfortableness. And we had the palate checked. I did that with both my dogs, paid for the ops they needed, so that, you know, their breathing would be as good as possible. We were told in his case that his palate was fine and didn't need doing. So the surgeon told us that that is not the case, that, you know, his palate does need doing, and that his nose hasn't been done properly in any way. So I'll be honest, don't have a lot of faith in my vet at the moment. Not super happy about a few things that have gone on, to be honest. And obviously, you know, we're hoping, when we've said, you know, just got a little bit straight. I did speak to the surgeon, and I said, look, you know, understandably with everything, is that something that would be okay? You know, it not done immediately. He's like, yeah, it's fine, it's just the heat and everything, and as he gets older it becomes a bit more of a problem, as the soft tissues like almost sag in older age, and just make it a bit harder, so that it's not an urgent need, just something that, you know, needs to be done. Bearing in mind, this operation alone that he needs separately is like £4,500. Yeah, so obviously, you know, we continued mainly dealing with, you know, the needs of his RVDD. I mean, at this point, you know, he's, I mean, I get it, but this surgeon's talking about things where that's only going to be an issue if he survives the next couple of weeks, you know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, okay, so well, we'll wait for that. I think you know, there's enough going on. I mean, they give you like an 80% that the surgery will help them, you know, be okay and normal and walk and, you know, be able to go to the bathroom. So, you know, it's like, still got to wait and see how he is from that, before you're like, you know, heat exhaustion in the summer is going to be an issue. And we've always been careful of those things anyway. You know, we never take our dogs on long walks in the sun, in the heat. We're never not near a water source or have water with us, you know what I mean? We're, you know, aware of the breed that we have anyway. So he's never overheated. So, you know, I don't consider that an emergency, and that, you know, over the more pressing need of you know, what he needed done. So yeah, so he was in the hospital there for a week. We couldn't go and see him because he was just too upset all the time. They didn't want it to make it worse, and of course he is 2 hours away at this point, so we, you know, you couldn't just drive all the way over there on a work day on the chance that they're gonna then not let us in to see him because he's like worked up. So we had to wait, and we went and picked him up the Saturday after. So he'd been in the hospital for a week, bless him. And when he came out, obviously, you know, he's shaved all over the place, patches all over from his cannulas, his IVs, his sedation, his operation. He's got this big massive scar down his throat and chest, because even though it was the spine, they go through the front of the neck. I'll not give you too much info because obviously, you know, for the squeamish among us, it's TMI. On all his legs and his little dog testicles were so crusty and scabbed, just obviously from being lead sedated, and obviously, you know, getting damp, and all his legs were scabbed on the inside. He was an absolute state. His bum was bleeding. To be honest, it wasn't, I mean, you know, the way the nurses and the surgeons were, and you know, the constant filling us in of everything, and the care he received, I'm not faulting anything, but he was a state when he came out, to be honest. And obviously at this point he can't walk. We bought a pen because he can't go in a crate. He goes crazy, he hurts himself. I don't know what the issue is. My other dog's fine. And we found a playpen. Isn't so bad. He stays, you know, a lot calmer, a lot more chilled. And obviously we had to get him a harness because we had to hold him up for him to be able to go out to use the bathroom. We bought physio items because you know, they'd gone through all this physio stuff we had to do with him, so we had to do like 4 to 5 30-minute sessions a day of physio with him. So obviously, between the two of us at this point, we had 2 weeks before we were actually off for 2 weeks for Christmas, so we kind of each worked out so that 2 weeks one of us was off. I had just you know, speak to my manager at work. Obviously I am self-employed, but I do work for a particular company, and just work everything out and just take some time off. And it's kind of, you know, at the worst time that it could possibly be, but you know, he had to have, they'd said for 4 weeks, they'd already told us before he came, you know, when it all started, that for 4 weeks he would need 24-hour care. So, you know, we sorted all that out. I slept downstairs for like the first 2 weeks. It was intense, and we did all his physio and the different exercises, and sent pictures of his wound as updates, because obviously, you know, 2 hours, I don't mind driving the 2 hours in the car for the wound check that he needs, but he doesn't travel well, and it's not worth the stress of him doing a 4-hour round trip for them to like take stitches out. I mean, before I do that, I've got a qualification in stitch removal on people. I'd rather do it myself. But luckily they did agree that our vets could remove his stitches and things, and that they were happy with like videos and photos, just to, you know, take a bit of the pressure off, updates. And, you know, every time I had a question and I rang, the surgeon always got back in touch with me, and, you know, explained. Obviously we had a couple of worries. I mean, when we first got him back, obviously he was having a bit of blood, but he'd had a catheter in. He was incontinent for the first 2-3 days, so we'd bought puppy pads and everything, and obviously that was just from, you know, just from everything. But he slowly, you know, just kept getting better and better and more mobile and more mobile. He's not in pain, and he's pretty much like 96% better. He's a little bit lame on his front right foot, so he like scrapes the top of his foot on the ground when he walks. So, and we've tried all sorts. If you guys have tips for this, please help me. I've used dog shoes, dog socks, those little nail caps, and I know this is crazy, but eventually the only thing I found that stayed on are toe bunion covers. They're like a silicone cap for toes for bunions, and we put that on his foot. And it comes off after a little while, so you have to replace it a couple of times in the walk, but it's the only thing that just stays on for a while, just to stop him, because he was like you know, wearing into the top of his toenails, which is bad, and just scratching the top of his a couple of his toes. So obviously we have to do something, and I'm not sure whether that will be permanent, or you know, that seems to have been like what he's been left with. You know, just this little like issue with his front right foot, and they did say that, you know, that is quite likely that that will remain the same. He's now, of course, like 3 months, end of November, end of January, end of he's 2.5 months post surgery. So I mean, you know, he's doing amazing. And you know, they did say, like, you know, it could be a good 6 months that you might still see a little bit more recovery. He's kind of wobbly. He's like my wobbly little old man now, and I get a little bit choked up sometimes, you know, when he's trying to do something and he's like just not quite as dexterous as he's used to doing, or he just kind of topples sometimes. But then, you know, it's so easy to forget just how bad he was and just how far he's come, and that even if he stays a little bit wobbly and he drags his foot a little bit, that he's just so happy and he's okay and he's not in pain, and he's my little man and he's still here, and I still get upset about it even now. So you can imagine, I just haven't been able to talk about it. And it's not that I didn't want to share it with you guys, but like I said, you know, I don't want to, you know, well, number one, just blubber on camera for like 30 minutes. But number two, like, you know, upset or trigger anyone either. And to be honest, you know, we just needed to go through it all and see what the outcome was going to be before it was time to share. Does that make sense? You guys know what I mean, don't you? You know, you've got to kind of be okay first, and then you can share with all your friends. And then it was time to fill you guys in on where we're at. You know, and we've taken, I mean, we've always, you know, tried to make sure that, you know, the chances of this happening were minimal, but obviously it still did. The chance that it can happen again is quite high, and you know, I'm not an endless bank. I mean, like I said, for the next 1 year to 2 years, I'm still going to be paying off the first incident that we had. So, you know, I can really only try our very best. We've got foam, like memory foam ramps on the bed instead of the little wooden stairs that we used to have on there. They're not allowed to go up and down the stairs at all anymore. We carry them, so I am absolutely, I'm pretty sure I might have given myself a hernia. To be honest, I've been having some chronic issues of pain since this all began, and I can't tell if it's stress or if I've just pulled something. I am having tests at the doctors at the minute, because it'll be one of those two, probably. But yeah, they're so heavy. But, you know, if I have to carry my doggos up and down the stairs forever, I'm very willing to do that. If he doesn't have to go through what he went through again, bless him. You know, it's been hard on all of us, really. You know, getting him, he just needed so much care. I'm glad, don't get me wrong, if he'd have, you know, if his back legs had been paralysed and he'd have needed care for, you know, ever, but he'd have been okay and not in pain, we'd have done that. You know, as long as he's okay, that's the main issue for me, that, you know, he's not in pain, and that his quality of life is good. That's the only thing that matters to me. I'll sleep downstairs. I'll never sleep again. I'll have to just start exercising more to be able to lift the little buggers. And you know, we'll have to buy new socks for him every week. It is what it is. Pretty much spend all my money on them anyway, so what difference does it realistically make? Of course, it has just meant that we've got a lot less you know, random income going on with all the shifts we've had lately in our family household. So of course, you know, we're just being very mindful of that. I'm not exactly strapped for hobby items, so I'm just being very mindful and, you know, and just trying not to randomly buy anything really that's not dog related, because we've had to buy him a million things. But with regards to other things, you know, we're just taking it quiet, taking it easy. And of course, you know, we had our big sort out, and I'm just very slowly you know, spending some time putting all this stuff up on my eBay. It's a lot of games at the minute. I've started with those because, to be honest, you know, they're worth the most money. And I have been like then pulling that money down and paying it onto my credit card. And to be honest, so far I've raised I think I've raised like £300 or £400 in sales of you know, old games that I'm not going to play on eBay. And probably, you know, with the amount of things that I normally buy that I haven't been, you know, there's a few £100s there. And you know, slowly we're going to get straight and get right, and you know, hopefully do it quick enough before, you know, whatever life decides to throw at you next. So yeah, I know you guys won't mind whether I'm buying a million things or there's a million new products on the channel. I know you're all wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous people that you know, as long as everything's okay, we'll be happy and we'll watch my channel the way you guys always do. And apart from that, you know, that's my life at the minute. That's where we're at. That's what's happening. If you've any questions about anything, please do pop it in the comments below. I do want to I am gonna pop a little footage in here of the doggo so you can tell he's okay, don't worry. I will of course do that. I know it's important to see him for yourself, because I'd want to, just to see how the little chapo is doing. And apart from that, yeah, I hope you're having a fabulous time, enjoying whatever hobby or crafting you're doing. I will do another colour and chat soon, because I did actually want to chat about random update stuff that's happening. But of course, this was the important thing that needed to be shared first, so you guys knew what was going on with everything. And obviously, you know, he's been taking up a lot of my time, but in fairness, I do feel like I've gotten on top of you know, back on track with my channel, with my hobbies, with you guys, with being scheduled, and you know, I'm making my channel maybe a little bit more appealing and organized. And if you guys have any requests about anything, I'm always happy for you to chuck them in the comments below. And apart from that, that is the fact that that's the thing. That was the other thing, the important thing I wanted to mention. Of course, I did the vote for the project book. I want to do a project book here on the channel, something I've never done before, and just think might be super fun and give us a little bit of focus. And I asked you guys to pick from the 5 that I'd picked, and that I was going to do like either 1 or 2 of the books. And the top 2 came out Mountain King by O.J. Hampson, and I've already started on a page for the channel with him. And of course, Rita Berman's Mein Reichstes Eschen. They were the top 2, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it or how it's going to work, but I think I'm going to start with like the focus on Mountain King, and then see where the Rita Berman gets thrown in here and there, and see how far we get and how far we decide to take the project book, and just, you know, how it's going. It's just something new, something fun to try and have a go. So I will get to the interesting bit that I know you guys want to see, and I will show you my doggos. Are you going to say hello to everyone? They all want to say hello to you. So this, of course, is Egon, and this is Winston. They are mad at me because I've been upstairs filming and I'm now super being ignored. Hey, are you going to show everybody? Are you going to show everybody how well you are by not moving at all so they can't tell? Come on. Okay, I'll get a biscuit. Okay, now he's had a biscuit, he's a little bit more like alive and interested in saying hello to you guys. But as you can see, you know, he's happy, he's healthy, he's not in pain, he's doing really well. He's actually really mobile. He's just obviously got monk on and not willing to show you that today. Come on in. Come on in. Show everybody how mobile you are. Show everybody. Oh, there we go. There we go. Good boys. Good boys. Come on. He's still very bald underneath his chest piece, but his scar is mainly gone. He's doing really well. And he's you know, apart from having been woke up and irritated and me being out of treats, he's quite happy. And he's doing really well. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.